Okay, so this is the video that I took using my SJCAM Legend, SJ6 Legend, I think that's the name. And I had it mounted on my chest with a chest strap that's fitted with the action cam attachments, the SJCAM and GoPro clips. And yeah, it is better compared to just having it mounted on the bike itself, anywhere in the bike, either in the handlebars or wherever, or even on the helmet. I think the chest mount is much better than all of the other methods. And but then as you can see, the video is still shaky, and I just hope they could just create a mechanism, something that could hold the gimbal on a mic, a mount for gimbals for the bicycles. And so far, I just saw a few weeks ago that SJCAM released a gimbal, and it is especially made for the SJCAM Legend and SJ7 Star. But then it still didn't have, there's no attachment for you to get it mounted into a bike. And it's quite unfortunate because as you would expect from an action cam, you would if SJCAM, if an action cam company produces a gimbal, you would expect it to be ready to use in action cam scenarios. But unfortunately, it doesn't come with I don't know, I haven't seen a device that you can attach to it so that you can mount it on a bicycle. Unlike the DJI gimbals, the Osmo, it has this they have this unique I don't know, I don't have that, I don't own one, and I haven't seen the clip, the whatever it is that they use to attach. So they have this shock absorber mount so that you could use the Osmo on a bike without damaging it. Because if you use the gimbal with just an ordinary mount, it's the vibrations of the bicycle as you ride, it cancels out whatever stabilization that the gimbal does, and the result is still shaky. The video is still bad. Not as actually, I didn't try it that much because I also observed that while you're riding and you have the gimbal attached without shock without a shock absorber, or without suspension, I think that after a long ride, your gimbal would be broken because of all of the vibrations. I think it might destroy the, I don't know, maybe I'm just scared, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna take effect on the joints and the machines inside the gimbal, and I didn't want to risk that, so I didn't try it anymore. But then I think there is a way, and I am yet to try it, but I think I have something that I could attach the gimbal on. It's gonna be a redneck redneck device. It's an improvised project, but I hope it works. And I don't know, maybe I'd be up to something for that. And so that's my review the SJCAM 6. And well, I'd also like to notice the good quality. It's probably not the best, but it's a good quality of a night shooting. The the image still looks crisp, even though it is a low light situation. And also, what else? I also shot this video in 4K, so probably it's that. And I have the gyro. I don't know if it's digital, and the digital stabilization of the camera, because SJCAM Legend has that. And I'm happy. I'm actually happy. It's just so that the roads in the Philippines are really bad, and a lot of potholes everywhere. And but on this, it's very rare that you get a part of the roads like what you're seeing right now. Actually, this isn't. This is just an average road, but these are the nicer roads in Metro Manila in the Philippines. And so that says a lot. So as you can see, just right there, those little potholes creates a lot of vibrations and shakiness on the video. So even though you have that mounted on your chest, which provides better suspension than having it mounted directly on the bike, you could still see the shakiness. And then also, one thing to tell you guys, if you're planning to put on the SJCAM on a chest mount, in case you want to try doing this kind of video, you can make sure to test the video first, because you would need to find the angle of how the camera is pointed. So you can't just place it like when you're staring in the mirror and you have it straight on. Once you have yourself positioned on the bike, your footage might not be what you want. You might be just focusing on the handlebar or somewhere else, and you're not getting the kind of video that you want to achieve. And you're gonna see mostly road if it's gonna be pointed downwards, or if it's pointed way too upwards, you're just gonna see the sky and you're not gonna see the action. So it's gonna be a bad footage. So that's a warning. But then you can always just test it and see what angle works for you on your body type and on your bike, because I suppose that could change as these variables change as well. Okay, so this is a ride that I made a couple of days ago or 3 days ago. This is I don't know. I was city riding in Makati because we stayed in a hotel, and I brought my bike. It is a folding bike. It's a Doppelganger. It looks fancy because that's how Doppelganger designs their bicycles, but it's actually a relatively cheap bike. It's just an entry level folding bike, but I love it. I love it. It's for now, it's all I need, and I could have gotten a mountain bike instead, but I think a folding bike is best for city use in the urban areas like this one, because as you can see, I've been I've been getting into the tight spaces easily. And one thing to note while watching this video, this looks a little scarier. Actually, I would if you're just watching this video and you see me going through those cars and on in the traffic, it's almost a little. Well, what I'm saying is it doesn't look as scary when you're actually doing it, and this footage kind of makes it I don't know if it's scary to you, but it looks a lot more intense when you're watching it on the action cam. Maybe it's because of the wide lens. Yeah, probably that's it. But even so, when I'm watching this, like I kind of question myself. Why am I getting myself into those tight spaces with these steel monsters on the road with Filipino drivers. So if you're ever aware of traffic in the Philippines and how folks over here drive, you know what I mean. And as you can see, it is traffic in the Metro Manila. That's the capital of the Philippines. This place, Roxas Boulevard, is one of the main highways in Metro Manila. And as you've seen before, there's a bay. It's a road right beside the Manila Bay, and it's very scenic during the afternoons and even in the evenings. Well, actually, any time of the day. It's quite a beautiful place to watch the sunset. Well, not the sunrise because it's on the other side, but you get the point. And my goal on this trip is to get to the Rizal Monument, that is located in Luneta Park, or the Rizal Park, named after Jose Rizal, which is the national hero of the Philippines. And while I was strolling around in my bike in Makati, I got a little bored, so I decided I just go a little farther. So I think the trip was it's not too far, maybe just around 20 to 25 kilometers. Yeah, it's not overly far, but it's very manageable, especially if you're fit and you have a good bike. Me, I'm not so fit, and my bike is okay. I don't think that's it does its work, and I'm comfortable with it, so I'm happy. And as you can see, I've been overtaking other riders and watching myself I kind of look a little reckless while I'm biking, and yeah, well, it's still fun. It's still fun. I actually enjoyed passing through those narrow gaps in the traffic. And actually, I was also, to be honest, I was also doing that for the camera. And I knew I could do it. I used to do it all the time when I was way younger. So I could still do it, apparently. And now, like on this one, see, the traffic's still moving, and and I'm I'm pushing myself in these tight little spaces, and I don't know. It looks like something's gonna go wrong, and it can go wrong anytime because you're dealing with live traffic, and maybe I should start being more careful. But hey, usually I just bike around our neighborhood, so it just so happened that I rarely go in this place, and so that's why I took advantage. Okay, so we're almost at the park. So the park again is named after the national hero of the Philippines, Jose Rizal, and because that park was where he was executed back when the Philippines was under Spanish rule, until from 1500s until the turn of the last century, until the end, 1898. So yeah, so I don't know what Jose Rizal would have thought about the traffic nowadays. It's because it's horrendous. It's one of the reasons why I decided to just work at home. And even though when I was younger, around 10 years ago, I used to commute for maybe 4 hours a day, every day. So it's but then I was it was fine. I wasn't complaining. I wasn't complaining at all. I was never a complainer, at least not as much. But nowadays, I couldn't stand the traffic. I couldn't imagine myself doing what I used to do every day every day, basically, not just every week. And okay, so we're almost at the park. Okay, so this is the Rizal Monument in Manila, Philippines. And over the years, I used to my parents used to bring me here when I was little, and over the years it has been improved. Well, sometimes it had its this park had its low. It was it was very nice before, if you see the photos, and then there were times that it got neglected a little bit. You see that the grasses weren't maintained properly. There were patches of ground, and the trees are not good, and the pavements were all cracked. Well, nowadays they've put money to renovate it, and it kind of looks good again. It doesn't look like what it used to before now, though, but at least it's good. And I wasn't able to take footages of the park itself because I was trying to conserve battery, and I just stopped a little bit to get a drink. Okay, so now after a little stopover, there was also a singer that night, and there was a mini concert that's for free, and there were young girls, not young girls. Um, they're girls, but I think they're a little older, but they're still young adults. Okay, so there's a free concert, and they stopped there for a while to get some drinks, and then went my way again. And as you can see in Taft Avenue, this is just right outside the park, a few maybe not 1 kilometer from the park still. And you can see that it's very dark, and I don't know why they haven't installed street lights on that area. And if you notice, if if you don't had there been no no if that bus wasn't there, it would still be very dark until here, where the train station is located. So up until now, Taft Avenue is quite poorly lit, and these are the okay parts because there are establishments that's lighting the area. But near the end, where I turn, where I make my turn to another street, it's still very dark, and there are lots of potholes. And again, the traffic. Actually, this is the okay traffic in by Metro Manila standards. Actually, this is no traffic. so those, if you're not familiar with that, those are jeepneys, and that's a tricycle. Those are Asian vehicles that's unique in the Philippines. So these jeepneys are actually, they were designed based on the actual jeeps that the U.S. military left after World War II. So those vehicles, military jeeps, they were converted into passenger buses. It kind of serves the function of a bus, although it has a different dynamic on how to give to transact with the driver, and how to make the payment. It's a very basic concept. So no fancy electronic cards to use. You just take your money and pass it on to the other passengers, and until it reaches the driver. And the driver is also the conductor, and he's also the cashier. So you can imagine how safe that is. But that's how it's been since after World War II, and it's been one of the trademarks of Metro Manila, and well, actually in the entire Philippines, because jeepneys are all over the country, not just in the cities. They are passenger vehicles. They are also work horses, and they also serve as containers for goods to be transported from different provinces, from the farms until the markets and the cities. But nowadays, especially recently, there's a plan to get rid of these jeepneys. So traditionally, jeepneys are very colorful. If you, it's like a fiesta. It's it's used to be painted by hand by local artists, and well, you could just search for it in Google, and usually back in the day, in the 50s, or I don't know, back in the olden days, about 5 or 6 decades ago, the imagery that's painted on these jeepneys are usually farm scenes, maybe a lady, or nature scenes, mountains, those kinds of things, or the sea. But then nowadays they use different materials now. They use stickers, airbrush paints, and well, anything that you can use to produce an image on a surface is used now. And also the themes of the jeepneys has changed from the sceneries into pop culture characters and stuff, and letters and words and icons. So that's how it evolved. And also trying to, like I said, they're trying to phase out the jeepney once and for all. I've been hearing about this since for maybe decades now, and they've always planned how to remove the jeepney, because let's face it, as much as I love these Filipino icons, they are a nuisance in the road, because a lot of well, first of all, it doesn't meet the safety standards of modern vehicles. There are no seat belts in there. There are no airbags, and they are, well, very, I don't know if there's if I don't know how safe these jeepneys really are. They're probably no, I wouldn't say death trap, because it's open most of the time. But if it crashes, you are most likely you're gonna get screwed. So that's one. And also, a lot of the jeepney drivers are, well, they mostly come from poor families. Unfortunately, I don't want to stereotype, and I'm not saying all jeepney drivers are bad drivers, because there are also, I've also rode, because I rode these modes of transportation very often when I was younger, and I have met many nice jeepney drivers over the years. We had a jeepney before in the province, and the driver we had, he was a very cool guy and very nice. And but then there are these bad tomatoes that that really make the jeepney drivers look bad in general. Yeah, here's the part where it's really dark. It's just the dot on the street, right? So it's good that I had the flashlight. I actually forgot to turn it on in the first parts of the video. Anyway, so these jeepneys, a lot of these drivers are so undisciplined, and that makes a lot of that contributes a lot to the traffic, because they don't earn much, but their tendency is to race for the passengers, and and most of the time not follow rules depending on where they could load or unload passengers. So those little things cause a lot of traffic to on the road. So aside also another issue is their environmental impact, because these jeepneys are they're actually second-hand machines. Most of them are imported from Japan, if not all, and those are engines of old, I think, pickup trucks that was refurbished, and they just make a new body for it, and come up with these jeepneys. So I don't know what's gonna happen. They're trying to replace these jeepneys with an electric vehicle, a counterpart. But the problem with that is the culture of the jeepney. It's been one of the symbols of the Filipino culture that's undoubtedly Filipino. And here in the Philippines, I don't know. I don't want to say we don't have much, because there are lots of Filipino values, and but those are the fact that I couldn't just give you spontaneously, or just over my head. It would be great if we can preserve the culture that the jeepney has given to the Filipino society. But I don't know. But then again, maybe it is time that it gives way to progress and change, because not everything lasts forever anyway, and maybe it's time that we embrace it, and maybe we could just use the jeepneys for tourism, or I don't know, somewhere else, not here in the metro, in the capital, where the streets are clogged. But then again, that poses another huge problem about the livelihood of these drivers. I don't know how many drivers, how many jeepney drivers will be affected, and not just the drivers, the operators, because most of the drivers don't own the jeepneys that they drive. There are operators who just let them drive it, and what's gonna happen to them, right? So this problem is not as simple as it seems, and hopefully we could get into a compromise, I suppose, or we could solve this problem some way, somehow. I don't know what to do about it, because as far as I because the jeepneys are really a nuisance on the road, and I just don't know the culture. Maybe I could just like I said, maybe it's time for the jeepney to give way, but for the jobs and the livelihood of those who depend on this industry, that's the real problem, I think. Okay, so now I'm back to the street where I started the video. Well, actually, I had footages of the ride that I had earlier, where there was still sunlight. I was biking in the city, but I don't know, it just didn't look as interesting as these parts where the traffic is is bad. And I don't know. Here's another part where my flashlight fell. As you can see, it looks like it's gonna fall already, and then I hit. Oh, there it goes. It fell, and it's good that it was still intact, and I was able to pick it up and place it back, and make sure that I have the rubber bands hold it. I wrapped rubber bands on it so that it wouldn't fall anymore. I forgot to do that before I left. Okay, so now we're just gonna finish this video. It's almost done anyway, and yeah, this is a Doppelganger 219 bicycle. It's a folding bicycle, and it has bull horns for the handlebar, and it is very comfortable to ride on the city streets, and very maneuverable, as you can see. I just wish I could brake while I'm holding on the bullhorn, because you have to place your hand back on the main handlebar. I don't know what to call it. On the grips. Well, actually, it has the grip is tape, like the one you use on road bikes. Road bike handles, I mean. And yeah, you gotta have to make the transition and remove your hand to brake. So if somebody just pops on your way, your reflex should be fast enough to brake on time. Otherwise, you're gonna hit that poor person. Okay. Other than that, well, if you're gonna check out this bike, I suggest that you change the what do you call this, the pedal. Yeah, the pedal, because the ones that they have when you get the bike, they're just not good. And it was small to begin with, and well, it's just, you're probably familiar with it if you bike, but it's the thin and small pedal that's pointed at the tip, I don't know if there's a proper name to call that, but it's also sharp. And I don't wear biking shoes. I just wear my sneakers when I bike, because I'm not really a biking enthusiast. I just bike around the village. I don't do this all the time. And I didn't notice, but it was tearing the soles of my sneakers, and I didn't know it. I just crossed my legs one day, and my wife told me, "Oh, look at your shoes. It has a hole in it." And that's when I knew. And so I like those shoes. And so if you're gonna get this bike, I suggest you replace the pedal with now I use a broader pedal that has no sharp spikes on it, and that's made my shoes a little safer from wear and tear caused by pedaling on the bicycle. Okay, so I'm almost back to my hotel, and it is in Dela Rosa Street in Makati. And unfortunately, the battery of the SJCAM 6 died right before, just a few hundred meters before the hotel. And so I wasn't able to capture my the ending of this ride, but then it is what it is. Okay, so this is Makati. This is different from Manila. This is a city that's right beside Manila. Manila is the capital, and Manila is actually located in Metro Manila. And Metro Manila is a cluster of I don't know how many cities, at least 7, I think, probably more. But I'm gonna need to look that up. But it's probably more than 10. Okay, so I'm sneaking on that little gap. I think I'm gonna try to sneak in here, but I wouldn't be able to, and so I'm gonna try the other side, and then find out that it's too narrow and I wouldn't fit. So I waited, and I think the van behind me honked a little bit, but yeah, who cares? So Makati, I used to work here. I used to work in an office in this city, and that was the last job where I had to go to the office and commute every day. Right before I went freelance full time. And I had lots of great memories here, great friends. I've met lots of great people and learned my craft in this city, and enhanced my skills greatly through those people. Okay, so it's almost gonna die. It's gonna die in I think just about now. And it did.